February the 1st, 2022. Guys, you're looking at satellite images over Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. You're still seeing the low pressure off the coast up along the northern Atlantic there, and that is still pumping quite a bit of moisture into the upper northeast. But here in the Gulf of Mexico, you don't see this rotation that much during the winter. Usually it's a tropical depression or something like that during warmer weather. What's happening, you've got the moisture here coming off the Pacific Ocean here, moving this way, and this looks like it's going to dump a ton of moisture into our area, and we're under heavy rain advisories, things like that. Now they're talking about a lot of it. North Mississippi, you may be even involved in some of the ice that's going to start forming tonight through the next 48 hours. But again, let me put this back into play. You can see this lower level rotation here. And guys, it's going to get thick and heavy. The further north you get, it's going to be snow and ice. Further south, possible heavy flooding rain. Now, switching images, we can see where the moisture is building up. Again, New Orleans, like Pontchartrain area, it's not real heavy now. That's supposed to change. And the storms could be... some of them could be violent as we mix the cold air coming in with this warmer moisture moving up. So just keep an eye on that. But it looks like there's going to be a lot of moisture with all the elements of rain, sleet, and snow. This is the forecast map. In the bright pink areas across the center of the nation, you're dealing with winter storm warnings. Back here, you got winter storm watches in the purple and winter storm advisories that dip down again and through Arkansas, covers a tremendous amount of Texas. Louisiana, it looks like tonight, you're not going to be involved in that, and that's a good thing. But this whole trend could move north and northeast, and that's what it looks like it's going to do along this cold front. It extends all the way up into the northeast. Guys, here, you've got in the bright orange, this is northeastern North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota, blizzard warnings tonight. And it's all a part of this Arctic dip. You've got free wind chill advisories up out there. You've got winter weather advisories, the blizzard warnings. It's old man winter is set in here with a vengeance, and we're going to have to deal with it. But this is what we're looking at from the icing tonight in this section of Texas up into the Panhandle. And then most of Oklahoma, you're going to see the ice. And they're saying this northwestern tip of Arkansas will be icing, but the winter storm watch covers much further south. And they mentioned yesterday, I think it was AccuWeather, that the further north, the further south, the system coming from the north dips. That's what will really determine the extent of this line. But the last estimates I saw, 91 million people. That's a good chunk of this nation will be affected by this. And they're talking about not only do you shouldn't be out driving in it, but expect delays in shipping, whether it's something you ordered or whether it's shipping to a food store. There's going to be some delays involved here and power outages probably along this entire area. Ice really does the damage. And this is the latest from AccuWeather. It says a robust cross-country storm system is set to unleash a slew of weather impacts ranging from heavy snow, ice, and even some severe thunderstorms. The storm will ramp up on Groundhog Day and last into Thursday, covering more than 2,000 miles in at least 19 states. Winter storm watches stretch from the Rockies to northern New England early Tuesday, while winter storm warnings stretch from the Great Lakes to the southern plains. The chief meteorologist at AccuWeather, Jonathan Porter, warned that not only will the storm impact around 90 million people in its path, but also retailers and consumers, as weather conditions may slow down or even stop a few trucks from transporting goods through parts of the central U.S. For a few days this week. They're talking about possibly major interstates shutting down. So really, if you're most of you are not going to try to get into this, I know, but if you got friends or relatives that are thinking about it, it's going to be very hazardous. You can either get stuck in the snow or you can get a major collision because of the icing. He continues, he says, we could be looking at a big mess and moving products to where people and businesses need them as a result of our latest winter storm, and this interruption in the supply chain may be felt for weeks. We've already been seeing it, guys, for the last year, and it's getting worse. There's fewer things on the shelves. Some things take longer to get, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of the local Walmarts are going to start closing at 5 p.m. because of that, and possibly trying to get people to go to work. So travel could become an absolute mess as significant snow and ice strike the center of the nation. Motorists with trips that take them through the zone of ice and snow in the middle of the nation should be prepared for substantial delays, dangerous travel, and road closures. He added that travel will become treacherous across many cross-country highways. Pay attention, including west to east interstates 20, 40, 70, 80, and 90, as well as north to south interstates 35, 55, 65, and Interstate 71. You guys, you know where you're at. 20 runs across the southeast and from east coast to west coast. And you know where the other ones are if you're in those areas. And there's already been a lot of snow in this area, guys. This is starting tonight, late Tuesday through Friday. AccuWeather local storm max 30-inch totals. Dark blue, we've looked at this before. It's shifted just slightly. Dark blue is up to 18 inches. Up to 12 inches in the lighter shade. Goes down to 6 in the next, and then 3 inches in that other area. You see where you're at? It goes from south of St. Louis through Chicago, Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec City. And a pretty wide swath of winter weather going through there on both sides. Rounds of snowfall will bury portions of the Midwest from late Tuesday into Friday. The heaviest snow is expected to accumulate from central Missouri to north-central Illinois, northern Indiana, southeastern Michigan, far northwestern Ohio, and the far northern tier of the Northeast. Columbia, Missouri, and Peoria, Illinois are likely to receive a foot of snow or more. Further to the east, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Detroit, and Toledo, Ohio could also receive a foot or more. Across neighboring areas of Canada, metro areas like Toronto, Montreal, Quebec City are in that line. We were looking at 12 to 18 inches of snow. It says several cities will have a shot at breaking various city-wide records. Again, we have two moisture supplies from the Pacific and one in that low pressure in the Gulf. This winter storm has a chance at breaking into the top 5 heaviest snowstorms to ever occur in Detroit. And if the city records more than 14 inches, it will rank in the top 5. Detroit may be the only city flirting with a slot in the top 5 highest snowfall events in history. Fort Wayne, Indiana may also etch a spot in its top 5 snowstorm list. They're saying the last time Fort Wayne was buried by more than a foot of snow was 49 years ago in December of 1973. Fort Wayne is currently forecast to receive 1 to 2 feet of snow. Now let's take a look at this icing effect on the map. You've seen it before. It's changed just slightly in a couple of areas. It looks like it's dipping a little further down into Texas maybe. But anyway, from in Austin, starting tonight, Tuesday night through Friday, you're going to be involved in this, and then the heavier icing will be from Dallas up south of St. Louis, north of Pittsburgh, up to Albany, New York. You can see where that's at. It says major travel delays, power outages, tree damage, potential for major interstate closures. Now, you don't want to be in that. You don't want to do that. If you're a truck driver, look at your alternatives. Whether you can go a different route or maybe postpone something, because it's going to be rough, and there's going to be a lot of people. We're going to see these images of drones taking pictures over these highways with cars backed up for miles and miles in snow and ice. It's not going to be something it's a life-threatening situation. You don't want to do that. And if you look at this chart, guys, it goes from 1/10 of an inch over to 1/2 inch on the right. And just at 1/10 of an inch, you get slick roadways, sidewalks. 2/10 of an inch, some tree branches break, some power outages. Just 1/2 inch, though, is significant. Extensive tree damage, widespread power outages. And we saw this last year in February, I think it was, with that ice storm. And it it shut everything down here for 2 or 3 days in central Mississippi. So just that moisture pulling into the Gulf is going to add to that ice layer. Again, so a ½ inch is major damage, widespread power outages, but parts of the Ozarks, Ohio, and Mississippi River valleys could see over 1 inch of ice accumulation, which would cause widespread power outages and make travel nearly impossible for a time. This is not the time to attempt that. It's the time to stay home, take care of your family, and keep an eye on the situation there. It says also, unfortunately, the significant ice storm could impact areas of western Kentucky, which were devastated by a long-track EF tornado less than 2 months ago on December 10th. Remember that? Across parts of the area predicted to pick up dangerous icing, precipitation is likely to change over to snow. That snow can cling to trees and power lines that are already weighted down by the ice. Any breeze that develops in the wake of the storm may potentially lead to further tree damage and power line damage, and the forecast calls for some possible severe thunderstorms. And it's important to really realize, again, how life-threatening this could be. Tuesday night, tonight, through Friday, the power outage risk almost matches the ice storm perfectly. From south of Dallas, widespread power outages along this red area through Little Rock, St. Louis, Cincinnati. The orange is regional, localized along the northern Mississippi edge, western Mississippi, through Arkansas, which is going to be involved in the ice, the widespread, the regional, and the localized. So is Texas. Oklahoma, you're going to get plenty of it. You can see the map, guys. So it's time now to really pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings and buckle down. But again, keep an eye on what's going on around this nation, because some people really like to take advantage of a natural disaster. You know what I mean? So just be aware of it. But if you're in this area, don't think about traveling. And if you're along the southern edge of this, there's going to be a tremendous amount of rainfall, possibly a lot of flooding. We'll be watching it, guys, and we'll update it. It's a heads up. Be safe.